And good morning, everybody. It is time for the fourth edition of Around the County with Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins. It's brought to you and made possible by Joe Hill's Power Sports and Outdoors. You just heard a message from them. You'll hear another one here before we finish up today. Judge Hutchins is in the building. And
good morning.
As you said, not enough hours in the day.
Not enough hours in this. Roth was on me because I was running. Well, I wasn't running late. You thought I was going to be late. But I wasn't late. I guess I don't know what time it is, 11:03 or 4 or 5.
You're fine. I just didn't get you the reminder out as early as I normally do because, as you said, not enough hours in the day.
Yeah, everybody's busy, and that's a good thing. So, good morning, everyone, and Roth, and the sun's shining, and hopefully everybody is feeling good and working on getting their junk out because bulky items started yesterday. And technically, we really started today, but we had to get all the equipment ready, and Brad and John and all the crews. And we had some inmates. We had to get some training done with the supervisors by state law. They got to be trained, and annually, I think it's every year they have to be retrained to take out the inmates. So got all that done. Some more yesterday. So.
And they're assisting with the bulky items.
Oh yeah. We'll have. I think we'll have at least probably 8. I got an email this morning. I think it's about 8 to 10 that we'll use on this whole thing every day, and that saves the county a lot of money. And it's really beneficial. And like I say, everybody knows that we're taking limbs, cut your trees and limbs up, and put them out next to the road. I've seen some, just to let everybody know that's not close to the edge of the right-of-way. It needs to be closer. And because we don't want to tear anybody's property up, ground so soft, you know. One thing I will say, I got an email from Brad Spalding, our grade all, our big piece of equipment. It's got the grab bucket on it. It went down this morning. Had some kind of electronic of all days, right? So of all days, it went down this morning. So they sent it to Nashville early this morning. There's a dealer there that has to work on it, and hopefully it's a simple thing. So we're still moving on. It'll be a little slower for a few days till we get that piece of equipment back, because that thing really saves a lot of time, not just in that, but in everything. So put your tires in one pile, your junk in one pile, and if you got some junk that you think might be somebody else's wealth, or you may separate that just because it might be something a little wrong with the scooter or whatever it is, try to separate it so people will go around and pick it up, and then the limbs and things in another pile. And hopefully we'll get, I know it's been soft. I've had some people call me about it, and I said, well, it's kind of hard to change the schedule. We've had this thing going, and I know we've had some nasty old weather, but it has been better this weekend. Hopefully people got out and do it. You still got time, so let's get this stuff out and let's get it cleaned up, get the county cleaned up.
It's a great service that the county has provided, and because some people don't have a means to get it to the landfill or wherever it might end.
Right, and then I think I said this last week, the people that do have trailers or a truck, and if they have quite a bit of stuff and they've loaded it up on a trailer or wagon, just take it onto the landfill. We'll let you come in, no charge, but saves, there may be depending on the location, it may be a week or 2 or 3 or 6 before we get there. And plus it saves us time. Just go ahead and drive it to the landfill, and it'll be a whole lot easier. And another thing is, do not leave a trailer or wagon out in front of your property with the junk loaded on it, because we cannot, with that equipment, without tearing somebody's trailer or wagon up. So it has to be unloaded. It cannot be sitting on a trailer or a wagon out in front of your property, because we cannot pick it up that way. We don't have enough manpower, even though we've got a lot of help. We just don't have the manpower to do that. So it's a good program, and it's it started back under Mike Abel's days, and it's been a very good program. And Mike Abel started it with when they this program, and then when Judge Watts got elected, and of course I was on the fiscal court, and every court has supported it since then. It's just a good program, and most communities, most counties don't have that, and we're fortunate to have it, and hopefully we can continue to do it. I mean, it's like everything else, there's a cost to it, so one thing tonight, Ralph, we have the Community Connect at the new Fairfield Fire Station. It's at 6 o'clock. Basically, what I'm doing here is, this is not a political show. This is a fiscal court, basically, show. I'm trying to encourage people to call, and since I've been elected, and then Candy Mastroeni, and of course Senator Higdon has always had, back in the day, I think they called them coffees, and it goes back to David Floyd and Chad McCoy after him, and then Senator Higdon, they started the coffee shops discussions. And then when Candy's got elected, and she's worked with all the elected officials in our county, and we've had these community connects at least once per quarter. Actually, I think we've having about 2 per quarter, so we're trying to meet each district. There's 5 districts, magisterial districts, and we try to meet twice in each district throughout the year. And everybody has helped organize that, but Candy is instrumental in getting it started. And we, like I said before, we've had a lot of good responses. So with this show and everything we're doing at the fiscal court, putting all the data we can put out and those community connects, I don't see how it can be any more transparent. I mean, it's, and then plus all the social media, everything we put out. So anybody's got any questions, I mean, we want them, try to get them answered and try to be as helpful as we can to make the community better. So what's the phone number? 348-2222.
You got it.
348-2222. So they can text here and or call here. And I've had Saturday night, you haven't had any calls yet, have you? Or text?
We've got our call screener ready for them.
And I had the opportunity Saturday night to go to the Ducks Unlimited fundraiser. It was at the Guthrie Center, and I know a lot of people want to get out. It's been kind of a nasty, long winter, it seems like, but man, it was packed up there. A lot of people, and I haven't seen the number that they raised. I wasn't involved in helping manage it, but I just want to be there and support them. And so they had a really, really big crowd, and whoever organized that whole thing did a heck of a job. There was a lot of people there with a lot of support, and it looked like people had a little bit of money. They was spending money. So that was a big event. And the Republican Party had their reorganization meeting Saturday morning. That was a 2 or 3 hour deal, and by, I don't know if it's statute or law, but every 4 years, both parties, Republican Party and the Democratic Party, has their reorganization meeting every 4 years right after the presidential election. And so the Republican Party did their Saturday, got a new slate of individuals that's going to be overseeing the county Republican Party for 4 more years. And then I'm not sure when the Democratic Party meets on theirs, probably in a month or 2, they'll do the same thing. So we got all that done Saturday, and that's exciting. That's anytime you get new ideas and new bodies involved, and I always say new blood, and I think that's a good time. The Republican Party on our end, we feel like it's pretty good shape, but we're supporting everybody. It don't make any difference what side you're on. We want to do what's right for the community. So that happened Saturday too. It's been pretty dang on busy.
Even with the weather.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the Democrats, I think they have a meeting coming up in early March, and
Okay.
I'm guessing that may be the time frame for them. So.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Ralph.
Next Feeding America is tomorrow.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And that, of course, is another great community service that through the assistance of Feeding America Second Harvest provides food for the needy. And then we have Journey Church out on Louisville Road that does a program every Thursday, I believe is correct. So.
Yeah, they had the Journey Church. They contacted me back when we had that ice storm, And then we had to give them some support. I mean, the governor declared a emergency, I think, that week, and then we, as far as getting in and out and getting, back on the state road there, and we had to help them a little bit to get that done because they're, I don't know how much, but I think they got a pretty active group there.
Yes.
And there's several across the county. I mean, it's just many of them, the Feeding America, just to be honest about it here, is it takes a lot of support from my county road department. And we've got an individual or two individuals that have to go and pick up the products, and then we work with the senior building and organize that. And then Carol, which is my assistant there, she has to do a lot of the ordering. So there's a lot more to it than what people think it is, and so I'm trying to get some more help on our end to support that. Limitations on what we can do with the labor force. So they, I don't know what, like I say, it's every fourth Wednesday? Is that what it is?
Fourth Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And like I say, we take numerous calls here each month about this time, or actually about a week early. It's the third or fourth. Like it's the fourth, but so that's coming up tomorrow out at the fairgrounds. Gets underway, I guess, at 10 o'clock. Judge, with all the rain and snow that we've had, have we had any washouts or things that have impacted our roadways? I saw this morning they had a land mudslide, they call it, up at Frankfort on the Kentucky River, where Sazerac has their, I guess it's Bullet or...
it's a Bullet Bourbon or... yeah. I don't know which one it is, but
they lost a couple of things. They were just mobile offices and a storage trailer, but they slid down pretty much all the way into the Kentucky River. Have we had any washouts, or did we have any washouts?
I didn't see that report, but we've had definitely some what I call ditches and drainage ditches and shoulders and things like that we're going to have to go back and do some repair work on, but as far as any collapses or mud or any next to our creeks and rivers, to my knowledge, I haven't been reported on any, but that don't mean throughout the spring and the rains we'll have some banks that could possibly cave in. I know our road department build what we call gabion baskets, and we use them throughout whenever we need to use them from time to time. Well, there's a creek or river up next to the roadbeds, and I know down in the Howardstown area over the years, there's I can't remember the name of the road, and over in the High Grove area, and some up in Bloomfield, there's been places like it over the years that the banks and shoulders would collapse and cave in, and you got to build. There's different ways you can do it, but typically we use what we call gabion baskets that we make on site with the road department, and basically build a shoulder up, and it helps. It's like a retainer wall, and then you fill it back in and with gravel, rock, and so on. So I'm sure there's going to be some of that, but it has not been identified to me. I mean, Brad Spalding and them pretty much control that, and they keep me updated, but I don't think there's anything major that I'm aware of today.
We have
excuse me,
more bridge work on 62 between here and Elizabethtown that we just completed one, and now I'm assuming this comes through under the state's guidance, but we had some notices yesterday. A full closure of the road will take place during construction, so a sign detour is not long after one detour sign came down, it goes back up on 62.
Yeah, they moved that, and they'd emailed that you're referring to. I think they moved it up a week later, and but it's going to happen. I don't know what the date says. Is it today or tomorrow, whenever? But
it's scheduled to begin yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
And things moving forward. Yeah.
And the detours, and there's another little county. There's two county roads of people, so they don't have to turn around and go back to E-Town. So they can. There's two different. The truck route's going to use Bellwood Road, I think it is, for the big trucks, which is probably 10 minutes. The 10-minute extra detour, and the other little county road that they can come around that bridge is I I forget the name of it. It may be on there, but the detours and signs will show you where it really shouldn't affect. Probably won't affect the big trucks a little more, time-wise. It'll be inconvenient, but the state's fixing these bridges. We've got that road announced, that bridge out on Woodlawn, the old Woodlawn Road Bridge is $39,000 that we got awarded to fix that. The state's going to do it on the county road, and we're trying. There's two other roads. One on Sullivan Lane that we'd like to build a deck on that one. It's getting in pretty bad shape, and there's one on Stevens Lane that we submitted to the state, and it's kind of a new program. It's not what they call the 80-20 program, and something they started in recent years, and the counties just don't have the ability to do it. I mean, on these bridges with the resources and they've been good at spreading that money out around the state. I was talking to Judge Graves at Washington County. He got awarded I think his was up there close to $1 million on a bridge, and then David Daugherty in Marion County, he's got one he was telling me about the other day. So it's just a good program, and it really helps out safety-wise. Safety's the main thing.
Judge, we've got
excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's all right. We've got a text in, and we've got a note and a question. We'll go to the text first. That's the same as the text. Yeah, Mary wants to know, Judge, if you could establish 3 goals for Nelson County government in 2025. What are they, and what would be your timeline? 2025.
Yeah. We're already almost 2 months in. That only gives me 10 months. So.
Okay, we'll give you to the end of February 2026. Mary and I are going to give you.
Mary.
to give you the year.
Well, I feel like, looking back, I've been here 2 years, right at 2 years. Only a year and a half in the budget, on what I call my budget, or this fiscal court's budget. We've got a very good group of magistrates that's active, and got a very good working relationship with every department in the county. To my opinion, we do. There's been a few bumps in the roads, and with a few here and there. Understanding that some people may be a little bit hard-headed. So I look in the mirror, try to say, is it me? But I think different lifestyles and different personalities, and trying to get things done. I know I've got more of an aggressive personality, and I like to get things done, and I don't like to wait around too much. So I believe most of the departments and employees and everybody has understood that now, and not to criticize anybody from the past, but everybody's got different styles. And being in business your whole life, in construction and farming and so on, and you have to, it's just a different type of mentality. And so when I came in, that's what I ran on and got elected on, and people see my agenda, and I want less regulations and less red tape, and I want to get things done, and I don't want to kick the can down the road. Now, one of the biggest things to answer her question is trying to get this heat and air and this boiler system in the old courthouse.
It wasn't on the radar when you took office 2 years ago.
No. I knew there were some problems, but it wasn't on the radar as far as having to go in and spend over $1 million to do it. No, it was not. I didn't anticipate that. Not including the upstairs renovations that we've done with all the leaks that I've discussed this before. Now, we've done those a little over the last 2 years, and we're pretty much done with the upstairs remodel. And some of it was paid for by insurance, some of it was paid for through the budgetary process through the road department, our own employees, and our maintenance crews, some of the inmate crews, and I feel like we saved a lot of money by doing it. I know we did. Probably several $100,000 by doing it the way we did it, maybe more than that. But we've got it upgraded in good shape, and got rid of a lot of the plaster and all the stuff that went along with it. and
Bees included.
bees and leaks and leaks and leaks. We're actually doing a little bit more work on the windows, probably here in the next month. We had to do some with those before. There's probably, I don't know, I'm sure we'll have to replace maybe a couple. We're trying to rehash them and repair and fix and clean up and caulk and so on with the windows. And probably another month or two we'll have that done. With that, when that gets done, we'll have 100% of the upstairs done. And then the leaks, you was talking about last week, the ladder. Well, that big ladder's up there today, too.
Yeah, I saw him yesterday.
So they've been working, and I had a different crew come in and work on this, and so far we've eliminated just about all of them except for two little small areas, and that's what they're doing today, because it's hard to find. There's nothing easy about fixing a leak on a roof, especially some of these old flat roofs, and trying to find out and where the water's running. And so that's one of my goals, is get all the leaks stopped in the courthouse. But the second piece of that is to get the heat and air done. I've been negotiating, and I've had Brad Spalding, our county engineer, negotiating with Busick, which was the only bidder on that project. Tourism Commission wants to remodel the downstairs. Once we started doing the planning and got the architects involved in this, to do that and try to replace the heat and air, which the bids came in way too high. We've talked about that before. It came in at $1,979,000 totally. So we just said we got to table it and reconvene. And we've been working on this. I'm not going to give you a number today because I haven't made it public with the magistrates yet, but I've got that deal worked out quite a bit. But can we do it in pieces? Yes. Is it realistic? No. And it's going to end up costing us more money down the road if we don't do it right now, correct now. And there's a lot of electrics got to be upgraded. We decided to take all the ductwork out and all the old boiler system and all the other units inside. It's just wore out, and there's a lot of problems with moisture and things. So we're going to remove all of that. So that's probably one of my biggest goals. Is number one is get this courthouse in good shape, or it's going to fall down, or it's going to continue to get worse. My second one is to locate and work with BIDC and the city councils and get us get our industrial park, a new land, and get it bought for a future industrial park. And that's my probably two big goals. And the third piece is this fairgrounds project that I've been working on with trying to upgrade the fairgrounds for the locals and be a lot of activities for the local to use. Working with the schools on the agri-science center, and we've been putting a lot of time in on that, and that's probably my top three things I need to get done.
Okay. We do have a caller on the line. Your headphones working okay, Judge?
I think so.
Okay. Caller, we have Sharon from Greer Estates off Louisville Road. Go right ahead, Sharon. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey,
turn me up. Excuse me a minute, Sharon. Can you turn me up just a little bit?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sharon, can you hear us?
Yes, I want to commend you. I know you get gripes after gripes, but I want to commend you. And I'm glad that we have this platform where I can call and tell you. You have been great about grading our subdivision. You have, today there were several trucks out here picking up balloons, and we want to thank you. I know that you get gripes. So this is a commendation for your crew and for you. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Sharon. I appreciate the comments and the call. And you know where we're at. Anytime you can see anything that needs to be done, you know, we're not here to take care of everybody. We're trying to support people, make sure everything's done correctly and as feasible as possible, and the money's tight, like it always has, and it's where it should be. But we got to watch our budget. But thanks for that comment, And
well, kudos to you.
Actually, on that other, I haven't had too many complaints since I've been, and really I haven't. I've had a lot of support, and it's been really good. And I think people really have jumped on board with what we're trying to accomplish and the agenda, and it's been really good. We have one every now and then, but that's okay. So thanks for calling. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right, our lines are open, 348-2222. Reminding you that if you want to text, you need to add the area code 502 to that.
And this show was sponsored again by Joe Hill's Power Sports, and we want to make sure everybody knows that, and they run in the ads here, and I appreciate them sponsoring the show, and I want to give them a shout out for what they do, for the community, and then helps us get this thing done here and get the message out to the constituents.
Judge, I saw a news story while out. There's the county's looking at adding additional communication tower or towers to. Those would be for which department of the?
Basically dispatch.
Dispatch,
which helps everybody.
Right. Okay.
I was teasing Keith Metcalf, my buddy there from New Haven, and over the district there, and it seems like we're doing all this stuff. For every time I look up, it's his district in the South End. I keep the South End, and we actually we're going to take bids. The court approved us to take 2 bids on 2 towers, one at Culvertown Ballpark, and the other one is in the Hyardstown area, and we actually, I think there was one more. The Culvertown deal agreement is done with I forget if it's Verizon or it's Verizon, I believe. Verizon or AT&T, one of the two. I don't remember exactly, but we got an agreement that we're going to put all our equipment. They're going to put a new tire there, and we're going to allow us to put our equipment on their tire. Saves the county a ton of money, and then they're going to pay us some money to rent that spot every year. Well, that's been a good thing. Brad Metcalf has led that, our EMA director, and he's working with all the different emergency departments. And then you go down to the Hyardstown area, there's another company that's possibly building a tire there that we may be able to coordinate with that will save the county a lot of money. But once you get past, Culvertown area, all down through there, because of the knobs and the hills and the signals are not real good. It's been like this for many years, and so we're trying to get that, and it'll help. It really helps the whole area, not just that area, but it really that when you get the police, fire departments there and can't get any signals, it's pretty dangerous. And I don't want to criticize anybody from the dispatch and stuff in the past. We took the dispatch over under the fiscal court and the county judge's umbrella. Be 2 years in this July, and graciously the city of Bardstown agreed to that. It needs to be under, really that's the way it should be, because it's county-wide, and it used to be ran by a board, and it worked effectively for many years. We'll try to get to the next level. So it gives us the opportunity and the resources. The city is still contributing to that. It started at 3 years. I think they got maybe another year to go, and we did have to adjust our fees, or we were going to have no dispatch. To be honest about it, as you know, everything at home, nothing lasts forever, and we have to upgrade those computers and all the systems, and if you don't have a good dispatch, you don't have any police, fire, ambulances. I mean, really nothing is going to be effective unless you have a great dispatch. So trying to get them up to the next level and help them out and support them. So that's what we're working on with those tires.
Okay. Anything else from the fiscal court meeting that you want to elaborate on?
We talked about this heat and air system too. I'll probably, that's what's going to cause my hair to get grayer like yours. And between that and some of the garbage problems I've got, there's been garbage bills again. I probably need to quit talking about it until I get a final equation on it all, because we're finding more and more that's not being billed and picked up, and dumpsters that hadn't been paid, and roll-off boxes that people are behind on their bills, and then the regular garbage bills that they've been behind on, and how many has not been billed. I'm gonna tell you, it's just a mess. It's just a flat-out mess.
What's the recourse on collecting that?
The recourse on collecting it has been difficult, and my team and myself, I've told them we're going to go after people that owes the bills. They need to pay them. Our ordinances, we upgraded some of that language last year. We got to go back through it again. We've got to get our language correct. It gives us the ability to do that. But they had a meeting. Well, we've had several meetings. We got to have the county attorney involved when it gets to where the bills that they don't want to pay their bills. The people that haven't received the bills, I can't blame them.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. And we have to get that corrected. I don't want to really blame it. There was about 3 or 4 different offices that were doing some of the billing, and they transferred back and forth. And of course, Salt River does some of our billing, or does all of our billing, or most of our billing. And then you got KU Electric, Intercounty, and I'm trying to figure out when they turn on the electric, when they get a CO on a new house. There's been like a gap there, and it goes back to the code enforcement. The permits, when somebody's building a house, the permitting process through the code enforcement office at the courthouse where I'm at. And as I go further and further and further, we had a big meeting on this, I think it was last week, or the week before. I've had several. And it seemed like every time we asked a question or dig a little further, we found another problem. So as of today, I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm going to fix it and move forward, because it's been frustrating. And I could probably blame a lot of people, and I just don't like the way it was handled. But we're potentially I know we're up in hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even closer to $1 million when we figure this out, that hasn't been collected, should have been collected, hadn't been billed, and add it all up, it's a lot of money.
If somebody or some entity has a big number that they owe, do you contemplate giving them like a repayment?
We have already, Ralph. We've had we started with going back and finding out when it started digging into it how many people hadn't paid their garbage bills, and we found out there was hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we started going after them. Now you got to find them, and you have to go through the county attorney, and then the sheriff's department's got to serve the papers and so on. And one thing we've done is contacted people that we just let them know that. You got a bill here and you get it paid. Just like on dumpsters. It's not in our ordinance that we cannot really pick the dumpster up, take it back, so we're trying to clean up some of the language, I'm just, I'll just be point blank, or some people's taking advantage of it. And so you have to make sure we do it legally and do it right. And that's what we've done, and we're going to do, make sure we do it correctly, because I don't want anybody to get any legal trouble on our end. So it's very complicated. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a complicated mess. It's probably the biggest, other than this whole courthouse falling apart, and the heating and air, and the leaks, and mildew, and the plaster, and the bees. This is probably my second biggest problem that I've had in the county. After I got digging further and further and further, it's just a flat-out mess. And it's not fair to the constituents. I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you go back so many years, it could be up in the millions of dollars. Now, again, that's the way it is. I'm just giving you the facts, and so that's a problem. I don't know if I answered that question. You cut me off a while ago. There's 3 goals, and I said one of them was to get this courthouse updated and fixed, and I did. And the other one was
industrial land, and then the fairgrounds.
Trying to get with the work to get the industrial site, and then the fairgrounds. We've got a lot on our plate to do, and but that's okay. That's what we got elected to do.
What about the facilities over around in the Judicial Center complex? I know we're moving some people over there and some things. Where's that stand? Not inside the judicial center.
Talking about the big courthouse, the new courthouse?
Yeah.
Well,
Senior citizens.
At one time well, let's go back to the senior citizen building. They're not going to move. Let everybody know there's been talk about shutting them down and so on, but that's not going to happen. We've got a lot of there's many people that use that services out there, and it's really good. And in that same building, the unfinished portion, there's 3 units. Okay, Commonwealth attorney's going in one.
Okay.
Driver's license going in the other one. The third one, we're working on it now. My goal is to try to get planning and zoning in that one. No, that one's still unscheduled. So the Commonwealth attorney reached out to us. Terry Gohagan retired, and the new Commonwealth attorney, if I said his name, I'd be saying it wrong, from LaRue County, and the state wanted him to be over here. So he contacted us, and we've started that process. And then the driver's license, I give Diane credit, Diane Thompson, and then Jimmy Higdon, Senator Higdon, and Candy Mastroni. And myself, we worked on that and pushed the state and different people. And so we've got temporary placed in here by the road department at the Career Center now, and then they're going in there too. So it's going to be a great thing for the community when we get done. Internally, we're going to have to spend about $700,000, $800,000 to get these 2 buildings renovated, which the state, we're building that in with their rent, so their lease agreement and all that's built in. So they're paying for all this now, but we got to pay it up front.
Yeah.
And that makes it tough on our cash flow. Again, that's another, $800,000. You take what we need to do this courthouse, you're talking about $1.8 million that we didn't really, I don't think we had that. I don't know if we had that I know we didn't have as much in our budget up here in the courthouse. We had assumed it's going to be probably $300,000 to $400,000. So that's another, let's say $600,000 that we've got to come up with. And then out there, so we've got to really be careful internally. We got to transfer monies from different departments and different funds to get through and get this done. And that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Now, and I don't want to bond out or borrow any money. We can do a bonding. So far, we haven't done that. We paid for the landfill last year. It was about $4.9 million on the new phase. And when I first got elected, we assumed that we may have to bond some of that out and borrow the money just to be safe, so we didn't want to use all the reserves. So that's worked out. We did not have to do that. So as of today, the county still has 0 debt. And I'll give credit to the previous administration and all the ones in the past that have been very frugal with the money. But by doing that, and you kicking the can down the road, we've got a lot of problems that we got to fix. So there's kind of 2-sided coin there. And so far, we've been fortunate to be able to do it. Rhonda really watches the money, our treasurer, Rhonda Fenwick. We worked together. I had a meeting with her this morning. My plan is to keep things fixed up and quit kicking them down the road, because the next judge sits in his seat, in my seat, I want to make sure we've got everything in really good shape. And
it'd be more expensive to fix.
Yeah.
Build, fix, whatever.
Yeah, well, and I get it on both sides. I've seen, you do it today and you don't have the money, or you don't have enough money, you're going to wait and try to get the money saved up. At some point, we'll probably have to bond it out, just like a house payment. You're going to live with your mom and dad the rest of your life, or you're going to try to borrow the money, move out and get your house and all that. Kind of the same concept. Sometimes we'll have to bond it out and borrow some money. We got some other projects. We don't know what the fairgrounds is going to be. Once we get that final number together, I'm still working at Dean Watts Park on the baseball complex. As far as expanding, you've heard me talk about that. And that thing could be several $1 million. We're out of room, no place for our kids to play sports. When it gets to that point, it's when your grandkids and you see how important it is. The baseball has just exceeded. And so you take that project, the fairgrounds project, the industrial park project. We got several big projects that need to be done. We need to build another storage building for our seizures through the Sheriff Department, since we're going to lose the lease on the building down there where they're at now, Hardin County Task Force pulled theirs out. They use one in E10 somewhere, so we're going to have to find another location for that. Our dispatch and all the equipment we've got under the emergency management has been sitting outside for years, a lot of it. Right now we've got it scattered around everywhere, keep it inside. We need to build a big warehouse for all this that we haven't done for years, and we need to do that. So there's a lot of projects that need to be done, and I think that at some point we'll have to bond that out and get that done and do it. You know, there's been some bond. We when I was a master, we bonded out. I think on the I know we did when we built the park out there for the kids. Took us several years, and to pay it back, it wasn't. You know, you just gotta make sure it's in your budget. So it's important to realize that it's like I said, at some point we have to bond it out and make it. You know, as long as we can be able to cash flow, make our payments without raising any taxes, that's the important thing. And in the short term, and I don't want to keep. You know, like it's, again, I go back to this old courthouse. I mean, it was just a damn mess. You've been in there. You've seen it. And I mean, I teased you last week about the water running down the steps looked like a waterfall. I mean, that's really those 2 or 3 rains we had. I mean, that's what it looked like. It was that bad. So,
Judge, one thing in the news, you reminded me when you said something about driver's license, I guess you call it bureau or office. A legislator, I don't know in the House or Senate, has introduced legislation in Frankfort to return driver's license job, if you want to call it, to the circuit clerk's office, as it was prior to this. Don't know whether this got a chance to go through or not, but it has been introduced, and I don't know whether even the Circuit Clerks Association's in favor of it or not at this point, but one legislator did.
I haven't seen that bill, but I would doubt that's going to happen, because the circuit clerks actually, before I got there, they actually lobbied to try to get it out because they were so understaffed and overworked and demanding on that. That's my understanding. I don't want to throw the blame to anybody. And so they moved to whatever program that they had, but that's something that the clerks and everybody needs to meet and get a handle on, because it really gets above because I don't do that on a day-to-day basis. But we need to make it a lot more user-friendly for the community. There's no doubt about that. I just know it's just a problem, and I think we'll get there.
Yeah. We've got about 10 minutes to go. I wanted to a couple of things I wanted to mention, and you talk about things going up. I was gone for a few days and just noticed the structure up at the new Veterans Park, and that's really going to be a great thing for our community, and certainly for the veterans who've served our community in this country. But it's looking. It kind of surprised me. I missed it. Maybe between the snow and being gone a little bit, I didn't see things coming out of the ground. And then I saw a thing that was really dear to me. Gilly Simpson is athletic director at Bethlehem High School, but also does other things. Heads up a group called the Joseph of Arimathea Society. And I had seen something years ago in out of St. X in Louisville, I believe, where they had their group of young men who, when somebody was and had no family, was going to be buried, they served as pallbearers.
Right.
And Gilly Simpson and students at Bethlehem have did something very similar. I don't know when I printed this, but said they honored a 94-year-old Korean war veteran who, without family members physically able to carry the casket, the society served as the pallbearers. I thought that was.
I've reached out. Yeah, I've seen that come through, and Gilly is a personal friend of mine, and I think he's just an outstanding. Not just what he does at Bethlehem. He does a great job at Bethlehem, but I do think this organization. And I guess I don't know if that's a national deal that they're a part of or a function, but I know Gilly has talked about that. The Joseph of how you say the
Arimathea.
Arimathea. It goes back to the when Jesus was crucified, and they allowed him to use their tomb. I've been in, the history on that, and they used the tomb, and then have a place to bury Jesus Christ. And that's kind of where it came from originally, and it goes way back. That's where it started. And I don't know when these groups started, and like you said, they helped. It's not. We've got the pauper burials that we've got through the fiscal court that we help people we work with the funeral homes and that we have to subsidize at some point. Not a lot, but it's in our budget that we can help with that. In this case here, like you said, it's mainly nobody that has people that don't have any family. You just think about that at all.
Yeah. And
most of them get to be elderly. And most of their family has passed away, and it's just a great thing. So I'm actually going to I've reached out to Gilly. Well, I got it on my notes. I haven't called him yet. Since I just got this yesterday, I think. Excuse me, Rob, but we're going to have, I'm going to attempt to have him come in at the fiscal court meeting and explain this in more detail for the public so understand it, and it's just another good. It's not just because of, it's just another good organization. And there's a lot of different other things with other churches probably that, and I'll say it today, anybody that, let me finish this story first, but Gilly, I will, like I say, it's a great program. And then the Veterans Park, the Veterans Group, I know Jerry James is kind of, I think, the chairman of that and led this, and they have a good group that raised, I don't know how much money they've raised, but the framing of that unit you was talking about out there for the building, I've seen it go up too, so that's going to be nice. You got all the flags. How many flags you got up there? You've seen a bunch of flags.
Well, they've got all the military services and then a U.S. flag, and I think that's 6, I believe, maybe. Or
I don't know yeah. So it's going to be really nice. There's no doubt about it. That's another addition to the community that, and most of it, a majority of it has been raised by private money. Previous court donated the land to them there. I forget, and maybe they may even committed some funds before I got here, but there was a little bit of debate over the land and the question and all that. But in reality, that's probably it could be $500,000, $1 million worth of property, and if it was retail, to be quite honest about it, maybe closer to $1 million. So but it's a good thing for communities. It's like all these other things going around. Some of the people don't think it affects them today, but you might have a family member and the visitors and things. But that's a good thing. So
look forward to it. Its completion, and I would expect they are still accepting donations.
Well, I'm sure they'll take anybody wants to write a check or cash. I bet they probably don't turn it down. Do you? Now, one thing, Roth, you're talking about. I'm talking about people come to the court. There's other, and I encourage anybody to call 348-1800, 348-1800, and they can help schedule any meeting they want to come to, fiscal court meeting. We have speakers. You can come in and speak for 3 minutes, I think, or so, the way we did it. If you got anything you want to talk to the court about, you can come in. We have public comment there that you can come in. Anybody can come in and sign up to do that, and I encourage them to for anything, complaints. If it's about me or anybody, we need to know about it. Secondly, we have a community guest column, what we call it, the community, I forget the proper word, but we have people come in and we want to recognize groups, individuals about what they've done for the community. And I've had, I don't know how many, several, just tons of them come through and we recognize. Or anybody might be an organization, you just want to explain what you do so other people that want to join your organization, just like the beekeepers, for example. You've got the veterans groups, 4-H groups. We've had just tons of people let them know what you're doing in your community, in your school, in your church. If you want to let people know that maybe want to get involved, and I've heard people say, I don't have anything to do. Sit around and watch TV all day. I said, well, get involved. Do something. don't sit around and watch that damn TV all day. All that's going to do is, probably brainwash you, depending on what channel you listen to. And then, but you can get involved. There's all kinds of clubs, Optimus clubs. You got the Rotaries, and you belong to the Kiwanis, and so I'm going to try to get more and more of these leaders come in, or people of these communities and different organizations come in and let people know that they can, and what they do have to the offer. And that's what builds your community. If you just went to work every day and went home, the civic duties and get involved, fire departments and so on, that's what builds your communities. And we've had we've had a great community, and I think over the years people supported it. And what does disturb me a little bit, or I've said this several times, is we need to get more young people involved as you go to these organizations. And when I say maybe not, I mean, we take it all ages basically, but when I say I know a lot of them's got young families and kids, and they're in sports, but as their kids get older, they're still young compared to me and you, and we need to get more involved. And because as you go around, I don't know if you noticed it, I noticed it to all these meetings I go to, the Rotary and all of them, and everybody's getting up in age.
Oh yeah.
And we need some more young bodies, the KCs, and it's pretty widespread. So we need to get more people, younger people. They don't have to be real young, younger than you and me, to get involved to help. If you don't, they're just going to fold. They'll just fold. So that's one of the reasons I put this thing together. It's a fiscal court, and it's been really good. We've had people come in and explain what they're doing, and so that's why I'm encouraging any and everybody, any kind of organization, and we'll come in and talk. 348-1800, 348-1800. And you still can take calls, 348-2222. We're about to run out of time, 348-2222, or text.
There's a text, and let me bring up the full context of it. It says, were you surprised that the county had no interest in buying the tract of land behind the police station for the future? And I'm not sure what tract of land, but anyway.
I don't know what transpired before me, but there's, as far as land, depends on, I think I know what tract they're talking about. There's several pieces of land that of course, if you just buy land or have land, I'm talking about the county, and it depends on where it's at and what's going to be the need. So I can't really answer that question. I mean, there is some land, I think, as far as industrial land, that I think they probably should have done and bought. But again, the day you decide to do that, somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's like your businesses or houses or whatever you do. You go out and, well, boy, I should have bought that. Hindsight's 20/20. Oh man, I should have done that 5 years ago. I could have stole that. I could have paid. But then, just like right now, we might hear the same thing about me or you in 5 years. Well, you should have built a big station, or Hutchins, you should have. It's easy to say, but you got to pay for it. So at the time, you got to have the cash flow. So it's easier said than done. And I probably made some comments that for sure that I would have done a little different. But everybody's got different styles, and that particular piece of land back, I think I know what you're talking about. It's probably a pretty valuable piece of land, and but again, you got to look at your long-term plan. Everything I've done is I'll tell every department, every employee, every supervisor, everything we do. I want it to be a 30 to 40-year plan. I don't want a 5-year plan. I don't want a 2-year plan. I want everything go to 30 to 40 years. It's kind of like we did when we did Dean Watts Park. That's probably 30 or 28 years ago when we started that, and that was a 30, 40. Now it's outgrown. I mean, it's, so you got to continue to build your plans and your visions and what's going to be good for the community long term. This short-term stuff don't fit in my vocabulary, and we don't need to be kicking the can down the road. We need to fix it, but we're done it, and I feel good about it. I appreciate this lady that called a while ago. I really don't get too many complaints. I'm going to be flat honest about it, and I don't mean everybody wants to start calling and complaining now. I'm not encouraging that, but it's been really positive. I've had a lot of support, and I think people is appreciative of what we're trying to do and what we're doing. So It's been a good 2 years. I've had, other than my damn health problems I've had, a little bit here and there, but I'm good now and ready to roll.
Go. Well, speaking of ready to roll, it's time to roll into the noon news here in just a moment. But around the county here on WBRT is heard every Tuesday at 11 o'clock with Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins. Your phone calls and texts are always appreciated. And we'll be back next Tuesday. The program's made possible by Joe Hill's Power Sports and Outdoor.